everyone, and welcome to Between the Pages Live. Unfortunately, Mary's not going to be with us tonight because she is not feeling very well, so we're going to be without her tonight. But I want to say thank you very much for joining us and joining with us tonight. We have Christy Breedlove here. We were supposed to have Terrence Smith tonight, but Terrence had an emergency to come up that took her out of town, so Christy was very kind to say, yes, I can fill in and come and be the guest author. So we're excited to have Christy with us tonight. And you'll probably get to see a few of my cats. And you'll notice that we've changed locations tonight. We're not in the library of my house. I mean, mine and Bruce's house. We have changed the setting to in the den. And one of the reasons why we did that is because the TV is a little bit bigger, so hopefully you guys can actually get to see the slides that we have put together with tonight's show, because we always want to make sure you guys can get to see, whoa, all of the great information that we have to share. Alrighty, you guys are going to get to meet one of my other kitty cats. This is Winston.
He has a fluffy tail.
Yes, Winston is another rescue, and he and Screech are buddies. So I think Screech is going to come in and say hello too. Hey, 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 no bad words, no bad words. Let's not be shoving each other. Okay, yeah, Winston has a little bit of a diva mentality about him, and he thinks he should be the star of the show. Hello, Screech. How are you tonight? It's so nice. Aw, you're such a sweet boy. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Oh, look at that. So, for those of you who are not familiar, I love cats. I've loved cats ever since I was a little girl. I have 6 rescue cats that live in the house with me. Screech and Winston are 2 of the 6. But anyway, just want to say welcome, and I'm glad you guys are joining us tonight here at Between the Pages Live. And let's see if we can get my computer to work tonight. Alrighty, come on, Betsy. Let's do our thing here. There we go. Now, don't forget, if you are an indie author or small press author who has published a book and you're wanting to get it reviewed, Mary Treadwell does do the indie author book reviews. You can find her contact information on the southernpennbookshop.com website under the Writer's Tool tab. Her email address is there and her website is there. So if you're looking to get a good, honest review on your books, Mary would be an awesome person to read. And she also does beta reading. So if you're in the process of working on a book and you want to get some feedback, she does beta reading as well. And as I mentioned, we've got Christy Breedlove with us tonight. She is a local Monroe, Georgia author. She writes wonderful, cozy mysteries. She has the Dixie Days series out. And her first title was When Lightning Strikes, and her second and most recent title is When Bees Buzz. But just kind of fill you in, if you're new to the show tonight, let me tell you what makes the Southern Penn Bookshop a unique bookshop. We're 100% a bookshop for nothing but independent small press authors. So if you're looking for traditionally published books, unfortunately we don't carry those. We are an advocate and a voice for the indie authors. So that's what makes us a little bit of a unique bookshop. Our retail location is in downtown Monroe, Georgia, inside the Monroe Mercantile. We're on the street level, and we're in the back of the building right across from Chili's Cafe. So if you're looking for a good place to grab a good quick bite of lunch, just go right over and Chad with Chili's Cafe will fix you up. He has some awesome hot dogs. And then you can just walk right next door, right in the same building, just walk right over to the bookshop and you can peruse the bookshop. I always jokingly say that we must be on TripAdvisor for having the best bathroom in downtown Monroe, because you have to go through the bookshop to get to the bathroom. So we often kind of get a little bit of a line in the bookshops, or we kind of jokingly say we get you either coming or going. But anyway, that's where our retail shop is located. We have a lot of different genres. We have young adult, we have mystery, romance, Christian, and fiction, nonfiction. We also have a what I call the Southern Shop. We also do gifts. So if you don't know exactly what to get the reader on your list as far as a book, we have a lot of great gifts for readers, and also a lot of great gifts for the Southerner too. We've got a lot of great t-shirts, journals, and stemware. If you are an author and you are interested in coming, joining the Southern Pen Bookshop and getting your book on the shelf, just visit us at southernpenbookshop.com, click on author submissions. We do vet the books that come into the bookshop, so just submit your book and we'll review it, and we feel like it'll be a good fit for the bookshop. We'll contact you and discuss further details of how to get you into our shop. So I always say there's two things that a book should never be judged by. One is by its cover, and the second is how it is published. So let us introduce you to your most favorite independent author here at the Southern Pen Bookshop. Now, a couple of things on the news and events. Don't forget, we are going to have our virtual online book trivia night. That is going to be August the 26th at 7:30 p.m. That's not going to be here on Facebook. It's actually going to be done through Zoom. We're going to create an event on our Facebook page that'll have the Zoom meeting room information. Join us and have, we promise you'll have a lot of good fun. All the questions are going to be literary-based questions. It's not just strictly 100% on about the books that are in the bookshop. But the bonus questions is going to come from the featured book of the month for August. And our featured book is going to be Bringing Abundance Back. If you want to get a copy of it, it's available online as well as in the bookshop. If you want to get a copy of it, we are doing a special promotion on this book for the month of August. You can get 20% off the book cover. You can just use the promo code BISCUITS. Also, we're going to be adding to the website a promo code page, because we are running a lot of different specials and promos on our books in the bookshop. So you can always, before checking out, go over and check and see if there's a promo code that you can use. I see that we are beginning to get some comments, and I want to say thank you for commenting and letting us know that you're here with us. And if you don't mind, giving us some love or sprinkling the pixie dust and letting with your friends and letting them know about the show, that would be great. And we always appreciate that. At the end of the night, we are going to do a giveaway. So the way we're going to know that, way we compile our names is if you do make a comment, or you, like I said, give us some love or a thumbs up, or let other folks know about us. We'll make a list of names from that. So, wow, I feel like I ran a marathon right there. I like to try to keep the show about an hour long, and I don't want to take away from the authors, because they do give us a lot of their personal time to come in and hang out with us. So, Christy, thank you very much for being with us and joining us tonight. Like I said, you live here in Monroe.
Yes.
But you are originally from Texas.
I am a Texas girl. Southeast Texas.
Southeast Texas.
Yes.
And I understand your favorite football team is Texas A&M.
Get them, Aggies. Sorry, any SEC Georgia Bulldogs. I'm an Aggies girl. Always will be.
And that plays into your book.
It does. It does.
Yeah. Your main character in your books is Sabine, who has moved from Houston, Texas, to a small town in Georgia called Greenleaf, Georgia, in Jaguar County.
Yes.
And then her best friend
is Mia Wallace. She is a Department of Family and Children's Services Child Protective Service investigator. That's a mouthful, but basically it's DFACS. They go and investigate allegations of child abuse and neglect, which is what I did for 7 years as a social worker, and I did some as an associate director of a family violence shelter. I did a child advocacy center, but now I'm in education.
So you actually draw from a lot of experience.
It does. Yeah, a lot of the things that happened to Sabine, especially in When Lightning Strikes, it happened to me. There's a scene where Sabine lands into a fire ant pile, a bed, and gets bit up all over her backside and everything. That happened to me. I was riding at a park and flipped my bike, and the bike was okay, but I broke my my wrist and elbow. And this firefighter, who was really cute, I love my husband, he was cute. Dave was cuter, but this guy was really cute too. He sat me down in a pile of fire ants, and I didn't want to move because I was hurting, but they transported me to the hospital, and they thought I had an STD. No, it was just fire ants. I just had them on my bum.
So you actually write that into
Yes.
When Lightning Strikes with Sabine actually having to go to. She might have gone to the health department.
Yes, and they think it's an STD too, but no, it was totally everything. And there's a scene where the best friend Mia has to run through chasing a child. Did that through septic tank, you name it. If you're a DFAX worker, God bless you. I cannot do it anymore, but it's a lot of, everybody asks me how the ideas come about. I don't. I just live it. All you gotta do is write it down. I mean, I got where I work at now is a middle school, so please pray hard, because we're back in school, and I write everything down. Anything that's weird, I write down. So.
Well, one thing about Mia, you're talking about, she carries around with her a pair of septic tank boots, which is what you got. But Mia's a little bit of a fashionista.
Yes.
I mean, this girl believes in dressing to the nines.
Exactly. I mean, not me, of course, but yes, Mia is in some ways she is very sarcastic and snarky, and that's what I love, and that's what my husband loves about me. But she's a fashionista, like you said, she's a diva. But Sabine has red hair, slightly chunky, from Texas. I don't know where that came from, but Sabine's job in the books is a magazine writer, which is I write for Walk Living magazine, so it's just a mirror.
Right, and you actually write more than just for Walk Living. You've had some books published in Chicken Soup for the Soul.
Yeah, I've had two. One was about my son John Wesley, Theodore John Wesley, who shoved a screw up his nose when he was 3, and then recently the past Chicken Soup one, I couldn't use John Wesley's name. I had to use JW, about how he had undescended testicles when he was in 1st grade. He told the nurse that, so he doesn't.
Your poor children are good fodder for you, aren't you?
Oh my, yeah, we have their college fun, and my husband and I would joke, we're like, either it's going to be a therapy or a defense bond or something like that. They are screwed. So, I'm sorry, girls, boys, you're screwed.
Now, you mentioned that, both your characters, Mia and Sabine, become like sisters in the books, but and both are kind of snarky. And I think Sabine is a little bit more snarkier than Mia. Mia's high maintenance.
She is.
She is. She's high maintenance, and I think that's the reason why she and Sabine play off each other so well. But you have a really snarky side of you, and one of your favorite. If you go to her Christy's website, ChristyBreedlove.com, and if you go over to more and click on meanderings, you're going to see this logo up on her website that says Telemarketer Hall of Fame. I'm going to tell you, you will have a hoot reading this, because these are actual conversations you've had with telemarketers.
Yes, I've had one. I pretended to be a nun. My name was like Sister Christy Scholastica, the Shroud of Turin. They fall for it. Someone said, like just recently we had a pollster call, and he was like, it's going to only take 5 minutes to finish. And I'm like, okay. Well, 15 minutes later, I was getting kind of ticked off, and he was like, okay, so how old are you? I'm 27. Sex? I said, no, I'm in a monogamous relationship. I don't want sex. And the guy he was like, okay, so what's your ethnic background? I'm from Papua New Guinea, and I'm a legal citizen. He says, what do you do for a living? I said, well, I'm independently wealthy. My father invented the wire that goes under bras. there was something. I mean, I don't. And my daughter is getting into it. That we don't get a lot. We get a lot of robocalls now, which is kind of disappointing. I mean, you can't do that with the robocalls. But one person asked for something. I can't remember what, and Reagan started speaking in Spanish, and they were like, "Huh?" And then she started speaking like some redneck. I mean, I'm very proud of my daughter.
Now she's a senior this year. She's your baby girl, but she's
yep. She is in the local work-based learning. She wants to become a firefighter.
Oh, cool beans.
Yeah, and she's taken after my cousin was a firefighter. My other cousin was a fire chief in Southeast Texas, where I grew up. So it's a family thing.
Okay, cool beans. Well, Reagan is a very, very intelligent person.
Yes.
And she's also very adept in karate too.
Yeah, she's a 2nd degree black belt. We made her promise not to flip Wesley, my son. But she's not one to mess with. She will take you down.
Well, and that's not a bad thing to do.
No.
And she's very much a daddy's girl too.
She is. She's. I always say Dave is wrapped around her little finger. Whatever. She's recently. Well, not recently. She's had a boyfriend named Anthony, and Dave wanted to put her in a convent.
I think all dads are like
yes,
that.
but I can do that personally. My aunts were nuns, so I have an in.
Well, yeah, and going back to other publications that you write for, you actually write for Catholic 360 too.
Yes, I'm 365. Yep. I do about stupid stuff. Well, some of it's very serious, but I don't enjoy writing those. They're like there was a story where, and this was a true story, when Reagan was 2, she had a Barbie doll with no head, and I called it Anne Boleyn. Wouldn't go anywhere without it. The doll was butt naked, never had any clothes on, and then she had a Beanie Baby of the goat, and she called it Horny Goat, which I see that, but it's like Reagan, let's name it something else. Ah, honey. Okay. So we went to church.
Was this when Father Dan?
No, Father Dan. The priest was the regular priest was there. Was a visiting priest.
Okay.
I'm not going to think of it. I've not seen that priest since then. But
Reagan broke the priest.
She did. She broke the priest. We got outside, and Reagan's like, "Look, Father, but Anne Boleyn and Horny, they're going to get married." And she had put Anne Boleyn in a very compromising position with the goat. And the priest backed away very slowly, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm going to burn in hell." And yeah, so we went. I called Dave. I'm like, "We've got to find Anne Boleyn's head." We found Anne Boleyn's head, and I hot glued clothes onto her. Something. So we would. It turned out to be looking pasty, like pasties, but she was clothed.
Didn't look like she's going to be working Peachtree, right? In front of Peachtree Street.
She was a pole dancer, but that's a valid career choice for Anne Boleyn. When you don't have a head, you're kind of limited.
You got to make money somehow, right?
Exactly. And you got to upkeep on that goat. We renamed the goat, though. It's no longer Horny. It was Bob. I don't remember.
Oh, my word. Yeah. Did you kind of get a talking to by Father Dan the next week?
I think that priest lit out of Monroe, Georgia, faster than a bootlegger. I really have not seen him since. I hope I didn't break the priest, the visiting priest.
Oh, wow.
Reagan did, because it wasn't me, it was Reagan.
Yeah. But anyway, this is kind of like some of the stuff you can look for in reading Christy's books, because, I mean, they're cozy mysteries.
Yeah, they are. There's not a lot of gratuitous violence or sex or a lot of swearing. I mean, I'm the queen of road rage, and I can swear like the best.
Oh my God, I know. I've ridden with you, honey. I'm just like, oh, dear sweet Lord.
There's an old crap strap there, but yeah. Do you remember when we went to Hobby Lobby and the dead squirrel?
Oh my God, yes.
But that's another story.
Yeah, what was it? Christy had taken me to Hobby Lobby to get some stuff for the Christmas tea. I was getting ready for the Christmas tea last year. And I forget exactly what I heard you say, but I was like, oh my God, only Christy Breedlove would have this happen to her in the middle of a store.
It was the middle of Hobby Lobby in Athens, and I am so silly apologizing to the Hobby Lobby in Athens. I got a phone call from Reagan, my daughter, and she said, Mom, there's a dead squirrel on the porch. I'm like, well, okay. I'm not Granny Clampett. I'm not going to cook it, Reagan. And I said, is it dead? Are you sure? And she said, well, it's not moving. Well, we have a mutt from hell named Zeus, who's about this big. Love that. That's my Zeusy.
That's Zeus.
That's Zeusy, and that's Darby, and there's my addiction of Diet Dr. Pepper. Ew.
Yes,
well,
yes.
We told, I told Reagan to tell Wesley, because he was a Boy Scout, to dispose of the squirrel corpse, and Wesley would not. So I get home, and sure enough, it's a dead squirrel, and we're full of rigor mortis. and I didn't want to use my husband's barbecue tongs, so what did I do? I don't know how I scooped it into an empty Diet Dr. Pepper can bottle thingy, and I threw it over our fence, which they call the pauper burial ground. It's just over the fence.
Yeah.
We had dead squirrels, chipmunks that were lobotomized. Oh my gosh. Well, we don't really do this, but that's my baby, my Zeusy.
And now, on the front cover of When Lightning Strikes, there's an Australian Shepherd, and actually Sabine has an Australian
named Dingo.
And you did that because you actually had an Australian Shepherd. Right?
I still do. Darby is an Aussie, but when Dave and I got married, our first dog was an Australian Shepherd named Zoe. There's Darby. That's when she's shaved. She's mad at me, so she's not looking at the camera because she's shaved. Like she's bald. But yeah, all Aussies are the smartest dogs, and we tell everybody if they had thumbs, they would rule the world.
Yeah.
So.
And Dingo kind of, when bees buzz, Dingo kind of kicks Sabine to the curb for her new love.
Oh yeah. Again, same thing. Zoe. When we adopted Zoe would sleep between me and Dave would scratch the dog's butt just after, and the dog would straighten her legs and push me off the bed. So she was a little bitchy too. I'm sorry.
Now, not only does Sabine have Dingo, which is the Australian, but there is a really rambunctious little dachshund that causes a lot of trouble for a lot of folks.
Yeah, Snooky. That was Mia's dog. When I was growing up, we had a weenie dog named Gretchen, and they were diggers, and we didn't realize they were diggers. And Snooky, when bees buzz, digs up some human bones, and that begins the mystery. And again, I didn't want violence. I don't want where there's blood and guts everywhere, and I wanted my dad to be proud of me. And if I had put in there the F-bombs or whatever, he would. I'm afraid that he would come. He passed away several years ago. He would come back and haunt me and choke me. So yeah, I tried. I wanted my daughter to be able to read the books too.
And that's another thing too is Christy's books can go for a young adult as well as adults because they're very clean, great storylines, and you don't have to, like you said, you don't have to worry about getting a book for the young reader on your list and worrying about, are they going to get gratuitous sex or violence or bad language and everything.
Yeah.
But now Snooky gets blamed for digging up Doris Priestley.
Dorcas Priest, yes. And I'm not going to give her. Dorcas has been buried since 1932, and some reason, Snooky, and I figured weenie dogs are very, very tenacious and they're stubborn. So when they want to do something, they're going to do it. And and she's been trying to dig up this poor departed Dorcas for several years.
Now, when you created the town of Greenleaf, Georgia, which is in fictional Jaymore County,
yes,
you really, really built this town up. And if you look at the cover of When Lightning Strikes, a lot of people have thought it was downtown Monroe.
Yes, yes, and because I wanted that feel. I'm not a city girl. I mean, I've lived in near Houston, and I've lived in Atlanta, and I'm not with my road rage. I couldn't live there anymore. But I really love the southern town. I mean, and what I love most about Southern House, everybody knows everybody.
Yeah.
And secrets cannot stay secret for long. I mean, it's amazing. Even in a small town like in Greenleaf, it's never gonna stay buried.
Right, and actually the motto for the Greenleaf Journal, which is the paper, is if it's not gossip, then it's not worth printing.
Yeah, and everybody knows. I mean, if you grew up in a southern town and you did something bad, by the time you got home, your mama already knew about it.
Oh, and everybody else.
Yes.
So like I said, you really worked hard on developing a lot of the businesses. I mean, tell us about Dupont's Foodland.
It's the main food place in Greenleaf. It's a supermarket, and the one of the founding families of Moore County are the Duponts, and they own it. The store is a family diner that was a little grocery store, but it couldn't compete with Dupont's, just like a normal mom and pop store. Palmer's Drugs, I used to work at Ecker Drug a long time ago, and there was a pharmacist that was he would rat you out. Did your mama know you're buying those condoms? You know what? God bless them if they want to buy that. I don't care. No judging on me, but yeah, he would fuss at them. And Maxie's Pads.
I love the way you play with the names, Maxie Pads.
Yeah.
And tell us about Maxie Pads.
My husband Dave has a snarky sense of humor too, and God bless our kids. They're double dose. There's a dealership down the road, Maxie Price. And Dave came up with this joke. I don't know if he came up with it. He perpetuates this. What do you call Maxie's house? The Maxie Pad. So that I had to put that in there.
But you've got to explain to the readers exactly what Maxie's Pad is.
It's a bar. It's a dive, but they also host poker games where one of my favorite characters, Ed Wiener Bumpus.
You got to talk about Ed Wiener now.
Ed Wiener. Oh my
God. I loved Ed Wiener.
Ed Wiener. Yeah. Well, and so it's basically a dive, and the next one is going to be. Oh gosh.
When Kudzu Creeks?
Yeah, I'm going to expand Maxie's Pad into a fish and tackle. I've already got the name of the Master Debates.
Dear sweet Lord. Oh Lord.
What is it? Well, you know, but Ed Wiener is she is a character. She's older, and she likes to make her own white lightning, and she kindles up a romance with the inept sheriff, and they get married at the end.
But the way you describe her, now Wiener actually lives in a trailer in the trailer park.
Yes.
And her character is kind of what is part of the catalyst of the whole beginning of the story of When Lightning Strikes. But the way you describe her is so hilarious.
Yes, she was Jed Clampett in drag with a cigarette, and when I worked at Defects, I would go into less than desirable places, and I remember sitting down, and actually, no, this was a Chinese food restaurant down in another county. I sat down to go to the bathroom, and the Chinese restaurant closed the stall, and there was a giant picture of Jesus in a Velvet Jesus, and it was the Velvet Jesus Head restaurant, and I couldn't pee. Jesus was watching me. I had to hold it. I had to run to the next door to the Publix to pee. I couldn't pee in front of Jesus.
So you put that in as now, in When Bees Buzz, and Sabine really gets a really good relationship with Edwina, and she goes to Edwina's to get some information, and there was a chicken bone incident.
Yeah. There's Edwina's mother choked on a chicken bone, and this true story. I just changed the names. She had it bronzed and on a plaque saying this is how her mother died.
You know, and the funny thing is, you know, I can remember when I was a kid, my grandfather had gallstones or something removed. And my grandmother had them in a jar in the bedroom on the mantle. It was like, look at your granddaddy's gallstones. So when I read that immediately.
It's got to be a Southern thing.
It's got to be a Southern thing to keep body parts.
Oh, yeah, oh my God. I got to tell, when I was pregnant with Wes, we had to do an emergency C-section. And Dave was telling off-color jokes to my obstetrician. And Dave said something really mean about the Navy, and the obstetrician was a former Navy guy.
Oh no.
Yeah, and here I am like half passed out because I can't see anything that's going on, and Dave's like, all of a sudden you hear Dave going like a cat, and I'm like, what is he doing? He's showing me your ovaries. I'm like, oh my God. And my son is coming out with this. Yes, and I had a tumor, and it turned out to be ovarian cancer. But yeah, during that C-section, and I asked how the doctor removed it and everything, and I said, how much did it weigh? And he was like, well, I don't know. I'm like, because it's weight loss. I lost weight from that tumor. But yes, but I survived ovarian cancer because my son demanded a C-section.
Wow.
So
and I just say that's the big guy upstairs taking care of you and looking after you.
Exactly.
Things happen for a reason.
Yes, I totally think so.
Now Hamilton Bilbo, he is a sleazy small town attorney.
Yes, and when I worked at DFAX, there were several defense attorneys, and this guy's not modeled after anybody. It's just a culmination of it, and he really is just sleazy, and he's not really a good attorney, but people go to him because he's the only one in town. And one time I was at court DFAX, and they said, so why are I wasn't at DFAX, I was at another job, and they subpoenaed me, and they said, well, why don't you work at DFAX anymore? Thinking I got fired, which I didn't. I quit. And I told him, it's because I don't like dealing with the defense attorneys. And he was like, I was like, you asked. And I can't tell a lie, I'm on the stand.
Heads up, if you don't want an honest answer, don't ask Christy, because she's going to give it to you.
Yeah, there's no filter.
Now, Hamilton really ticked off a local citizen and in his divorce, and that citizen had a unique way of
and this was in Hall County, worked at DFAX. Lewis Dixon got shifted by Hamilton during a divorce, and when lightning strikes, and Lewis would go around and pee on Hamilton's clients' cars, and that was a true story too.
So kind of the weather forecast in downtown Jaymar, if Lewis was around, was golden shower.
Exactly. You need some umbrella, maybe some rubber, boots,
sanitizer.
Yeah, hand sanitizer or something. And again, that's totally a true story that happened in Hall County to people.
Now, moving back around to Foodland, and the Dupont's Foodland, I loved that store because, again, growing up in small town, I grew up in Washington, Georgia, and we had the small, locally family-owned grocery stores like Meadows, Foodland, and then you had a couple of other. I could envision the inside of that store. But that was kind of like the social happening hub.
It is.
But I mean, if you didn't have anything to do on Friday night, you went to
the food store at Dupont's and waited around for shoplifters to get arrested. And hey, I grew up in Orange, Texas, and our little star was called Market Basket. And there was a really cute guy there. Sense of the theme was guys. Named Matt, and we would go there, but he was like, oh, you got to stay away. You got to stay here because so-and-so's coming in, and sure enough, they go shoplifting, and that was a big thing in Texas, in our little bitty town.
Yeah. So, now, of course, you had the hoity-toity side of Greenleaf, too.
Yeah. You got to have the Dowagers and the Greenleaf Women's Club, and you could only join if you were married and from Georgia or from Greenleaf, or so. I can't recall offhand in my head. Is bad, but it was very restrictive. Mia quit because Sabine couldn't join, And the person who oversaw that was called Matilda Greenleaf J. Moore, or J. Moore Greenleaf. I'm getting them mixed up. And she had an assistant named Lottie. And everybody knows Lottie. Everybody does. If you say you don't, you lie. Lottie was one of those bitter, weird hair, mean kind of gals. And Lottie grew up in Greenleaf with Mia, and there's a feud going on between Lottie and Mia.
Yeah, they're nemesis.
They are very, and Mrs. Wallace, Mia's mom, has to like negotiate. She can't have them in the same because Lottie stole the Twinkie out of Mia's lunchbox in 2nd grade, and it just went down from there.
Oh, well, I think one of the funniest chapters in When Lightning Strikes that I was just like tears were just pouring out was the negotiation of Lewis Dixon's funeral.
Yeah.
Between Mia and Lottie and poor Sabine's caught in the middle.
Stop. Yeah, there's that's and sadly that's typical of some of the things that you encounter when you do social services. You have a mean person, you'll have a very nice person, blah blah, and but my absolute favorite character is Mrs. Wallace.
Yeah, she's cool.
Me is what and when bees buzz, they visit. They visit this hoity-toity mansion in Buckhead, and they're surrounded by lovely furniture and paintings and statues. And there's a statue called Men in Rapture, where it's a very avant-garde, where the guy has his little man part, and the wanger pops off accidentally. And happened to me.
Into Sabine's hands, didn't
Yeah,
it?
no, in the Junior Sales Association, the real estate agent.
Okay.
And that happened to me in Texas. There's a museum called the Lutcher Museum of Modern Art or Western Art, and I didn't really take the pants off. It was there. I didn't take it off or anything like that, but and all that hoopla, Sabine gets to go investigate. But yeah, that's one of my favorite scenes.
that was a pretty good scene too.
Yeah.
And the way that Sabine and Miss Wallace handles that.
No pun intended there.
now Mrs. Wallace, Mia's dad.
Yeah.
Mia's dad is totally off the chain because he's retired. He's bored.
He's bored. He wants to be. He's going to the Constantinople School of Law Enforcement in Liberia so he can become a technician. He just wants to become a crime scene investigator. And for a brief time, he's a mild suspect, and he's over the moon with it. He's all excited, but and nobody knows he wouldn't harm a fly. Even though he was a mailman.
Now, going in, we've talked a lot about When Lightning Strikes, which is the first book in the series, and the series is called Dixie Days series. Tell us, why is it called the Dixie Days series?
It's modeled at Southern Living magazine. I couldn't use that because that trademark, that pesky trademark. But it's a magazine called Dixie Days, which is similar to Southern Living, where Sabine covers Georgia, and she writes the articles what her editor assigns to her. So she goes to. That's how she met Ed Weiner. Was with she was doing the story on Peach. I forgot some Peach Lightning or something like that, and then in When Bees Buzz, she's doing a story on geocaching, and so that's my segue into the mysteries.
Now you mentioned geocaching. Now that's something you and your husband does a lot.
Yes,
that's one of your favorite hobbies.
It is, and it's an electronic scavenger hunt. You have a GPS, or you use your phone, and you download some coordinates from the geocaching website. You go look for the cache. It's not like cache like money cache. It's it may be an ammo box. It may be a little pill tube or something like that. And that's just something we like to do. And and that's how I broke my ankle geocaching by walking. I was just walking, and I broke my ankle. ambulance had to be called too.
You've kind of gotten to know the ambulance folks really well.
I have, yes.
I mean, I think there was like every summer you were having an accident. I think you cut your hand really bad.
Yeah, I cut the tip off my finger. I broke my toe this past summer, and my clutch.
So you just only broke a toe this past summer?
I just broke a toe, and it's my husband. He's like, people are going to think you're abused. I know. It's just, I'm a klutz. I can't help it. I mean, I will trip and fall over anything.
Now, let's kind of talk a little bit about Mia and Sabine, because you actually, these two, I mean, Sabine is from Texas, Mia's homegrown in J. Moore County. She goes to the University of Georgia, gets her degree, comes back, becomes a very accomplished social worker. But I think one of them just went up on the bookcase. Winnie, please don't do that. Come on, sweetheart. Thank you. That's a good boy. Winnie, you're just in a mood tonight, aren't you? Yes, you are. Come here, sweet cakes. Come here. But it's an interracial friendship.
Yes.
Sabine's white and Mia's black.
And the Wallace family basically adopts Sabine because she's the only, she has no family here. All of her family's back home in Texas. Basically, kind of like what I am. And Mrs. Wallace is like a Southern chef. I mean, you know, chicken and dumplings and everything, but she adds, and I never knew this, white dirt to her dishes, which apparently is like a lanolin clay thing. It helps with digestion.
Yes.
And she puts it in everything. But her food's good. So
yes. Yeah.
You don't turn down free food and cheese sticks and stuff like cheese straws.
Yeah, I was about the white dirt part. I shop a really small local grocery store here in Monroe, and you can actually find white dirt in the produce section.
Yeah, I've never heard of it until I moved here.
Right.
Until you told me about it.
Now, Mrs. Wallace is known for her cheese straws. But the only time you can get her cheese straws are
at funerals. And that's a Southern thing. Every Southern funeral has cheese straws. And it's hard to find good homemade cheese straws. I mean, I've tried to go on Amazon. They're not homemade. They're not.
Oh, no.
No, it's not the same.
Yeah. I'm with you on that too. I mean, if you want good cheese straws, you better find whoever it is in your community that is known for making them to get them.
And find out where they're going the next funeral is.
Yeah.
Like crash the funeral.
Now, I thought it was really interesting that you did make their relationship, and you know, with one is white and one is African American, because it just goes to show that, you know, friendship has no bonds or barriers. I mean, and these two become like sisters. It's like you said, the Wallace family literally takes Sabine under their wing and adopt her and bring her into the fold. And I thought it kind of reminded me of a show that used to come on Lifetime a long time ago. It had Annie Potts in it and another very well-known actress, and I kept thinking about that show a lot when I would read about Sabine and Mia's. You guys are just
causing troublemakers.
Screechy's my technical guy. Come on, boo. All right, there we go. All right, kids. Let's try to behave for about another 15 minutes. Can we do that, guys? Yes. Y'all don't know it, but behind the scenes, there has been like a huge war going on between these two. It's like, oh, we got company, so let's act up tonight.
Like kids.
Yes. Let's really show off. And I don't know if I'm hearing thunder or if I'm hearing the other 4 cats running around upstairs playing. But getting back to the books, this is a series, but do you need to read them in order?
Yes and no. I mean, you won't understand some of the nuances with the second book than with the first book, but there's romance that starts in the first book that continues in the second book, and you really can't. I mean, you can read it by itself, but I would recommend the first book first.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, and the thing is the books are very, very quick reads. I mean, it's not like if any of you guys have been reading any of the Outlander series of books, they're not that thick.
No.
But very quick read. I mean, you could easily just read one in an afternoon.
Yes.
Fast paced, and that's one thing I like about your books is that they are fast paced.
Yeah.
You don't get bogged down in
detail. Yeah.
Yes.
Unless it's food, which.
Yeah. Now we haven't talked about one very important character in the book, and that is Sabine's love interest.
Yeah, Newt. I don't know why. Newt Johansson. I don't know why I made him Swedish. I don't know why. It just was a bug in my head. But he is the investigator for the sheriff's department, and he's basically the leader of the sheriff's department because the actual sheriff is a bozo, and it's he and Sabine meet on a case in the first book, and they move in together again, but there's no overt sex about anything. And Mia's so beautiful. She's a model. She's taller. She's willowy, and she falls in love with the new fire chief who happens to be like 5'8". So, and Lottie pokes fun at her, calling her the jolly black giant.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and I like the fact. I thought that was pretty cool that you made Sabine's love interest Newt Swedish.
Yeah.
And not like a good old Southern boy.
Yeah. I think it's something different, and honestly, when I was thinking ahead, the cuisine of Sweden is so bizarre. I thought that would be a good angle, and yeah, it really truly is. I mean, some of the stuff that Swedes are fond of, I don't think I could. I mean, I don't even think I could try.
I was going to ask you something. It was just, as my mama would say, that bird just flew out of his nest. It'll come back and it's a squirrel. Yeah, exactly. But now tell us, what are your plans with the third book, Where Kudzu Creeps?
Well, it's going to be based on the fabled Confederate gold and how it was lost at the end of the Civil War, and it's going to, Sabine is going to find it. I mean, eventually, I mean, not now, but it's going to be a mystery, but it's gonna, and my minor in college was history, and I love history, so I'm trying to incorporate a lot of Civil War history. Where I grew up in Texas, we didn't really do the Civil War. It was all Texas history. So I'm learning a lot when I research.
Yeah, Texas is rich in a lot of history.
Yeah,
I mean,
yes.
Wow. Now, you're doing a lot of the research on the Confederate gold. Now, growing up in Washington, Georgia, you know, there's always been this theory that the Confederate gold is hidden somewhere in Wilkes County. So, do you think your research will take you down to Washington, or?
It might. What I like to do is get a feel for the place. I like to drive through and eat at a local restaurant, and that's what probably I'm going to do. I mean, I can't barge into someone's home, even though I might. I don't know, but.
Well, one thing I do have to say about Washington is it's been very good about preserving its history, and there are a couple of really good museums down there that you can go through to really get a good feel for a lot of the
history. There were no broken penises in the museums, right?
Last time I went through one, I don't think so.
I don't want to do that again. I was only 19. I didn't want a record. I work at a school now. They might frown on that.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it reminds me of because we drove down there one time, and that's how when you were telling me this, it just was a seed and it's been germinating, and and that's why small, not the bigger towns, like not even the size of Athens, the small ones, who know where they're coming from and where they're going, and that's what I just love. I mean, you can't forget your history because you're going to repeat it if you do.
Right, exactly. You're so correct about that, because you've got to know. You're exactly right. You know where you came from to understand. You know, it's kind of like a story that I once heard where some daughters were cooking the holiday meal, and one of them cut the ends off the ham to put it into the dish, and one of the other ones said, well, why do you do that? And they said, well, Mama always did that. And the other one said, well, the only reason Mama always did that is because the pan she used was too small.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't know the reasoning behind a lot of the things that happen, you can't fully understand.
Yes. And our history is ugly, and I'm sure some of our future is going to be ugly, but it needs to be told, and especially the ugly parts. That's where you learn where you can correct stuff.
But you know, the thing is any civilization is going to have, you're going to have those high moments when your history is going to shine very brightly on you, and you're going to have those moments in history where it's not going to shine very brightly on you. And you can't, it's kind of like you can't always just take the good and forget about the bad. You've got to learn from it to move forward from it.
Yes.
And you know, you can't be like an ostrich and bury your head in the sand and just pretend it never happened.
Yeah. Because
at a point in time, you're going to try to, you're going to start questioning, how did we get here? How did we get to this point?
Exactly.
And so you're exactly right about that. But I'm looking, when do you think you're going to have your third book out?
Probably I started it during the pandemic, and because I didn't work because the schools were closed, and I'm into like 10 chapters, so I'm hoping, and I'm writing here and there. We've recently moved into a newer house, and we're working on the lawn, and my husband's so excited about the lawn. And
yeah, didn't he get a new toy or
something?
Oh,
he did. He got a new toy. He's very happy about it. It's an electric dethatcher. I had never heard of that. And he can't wait for Saturday. He's going to dethatch the lawn. And I'm like, this is what my life has come to. I am finding earthworms to put in my compost pile while my husband dethatches the lawn.
And that's the exciting times at the Breedlove house.
Yes, it's and I think I'm going to buy Dave a little sign that says Yard of the Month, even though we don't have a Yard of the Month club, just to make him happy. And because my son works at UPS, so he can do the sign, and so we got it all planned out.
I need to talk to your son because I have the best father-in-law in the world. I tell you, I got so blessed when I married my husband because his parents are awesome people. And my father-in-law is so very, very, very laid back and easy going. And he always has a smile, always has something nice to say. I mean, but the subdivision he lives in now, he and my mother-in-law live in now, apparently there's a few people that thinks that there needs to be homeowners association. So we went up, and every once in a while, I'll just kind of poke the bear a little bit with my father-in-law and mention the homeowners association just to get him started a little bit.
You look bored. Let's get you started. Get blood pressure up.
So anyway, we went over Sunday to visit, and I noticed that somebody had made like on a poster board sign about a homeowner association meeting. And so I was like, oh, I cannot wait to get in the house. So I jokingly said to my husband, and my husband has a very, very, very devious side to himself.
Bruce?
Yeah, Bruce. Bruce has a very devious side to himself. He has been known to pull some pretty serious pranks on folks. But I just off the cuff said, we really need to make a sign for your dad and put it in the front yard, with my father-in-law's name on it. It says, president,
Running
vote for
for
me, president of the homeowners association. So when we left the house Sunday, Bruce and I were already discussing where to go get that sign. So we have to get your son.
Oh my gosh, yes. We you should get a magnet too for your car, for his car.
Oh, he would just, no, that would get us written out of the will. We would be disowned.
My husband ran for school board in 2008, and he slapped David Breedlove for school board on my car magnet. And
with your road rage.
What's my for like 2 months?
Goodness, he didn't want boats.
He was like, I had to go. No, go ahead. Oh my God, I was so mad at him.
I remember one Lent, you said you were going to give up road rage for Lent, and I was like, yeah, let's start taking bets now on how long Christy's going to last on this.
Yeah, it wasn't. I'd rather give up Diet Dr. Pepper. Who knows? But I had to get a new car because I had a bug, a beetle, and people knew it was me. So when I shot the finger and stuff like that, they knew it was me. So I had to get a nondescript car.
But your husband won the election that year, and he's been on the school board for
since 2008. He just won his this past primary, so he'll be on the school board for 4 more years, and he really enjoys it. He is there to affect change and put the students first, which is what school board is all about. Put the students, families, and the staff and faculty ahead of everybody. And he's a servant. He's got a servant's heart, and how he stays married to me, I don't know, but
I say the same thing about Bruce. Bless his heart. I tell Bruce he lives at the foot of the cross of Jesus every day, and he needs to. There's a sainthood somewhere for him for being married to me. Yeah, Saint Bruce.
Saint Bruce, Monroe.
Yeah. Well, Christy, I want to say thank you very much for being a part of the show tonight, and letting our readers and our viewers and followers get to know you. Next week we're going to have another really. All of my authors are interested. I don't have a boring one in the bunch. There's
the knucklehead with no brain.
Mary Marvella is going to join us next week. She writes romance, and she writes a lot of different types of romance. She can do the sweet Hallmark, type romance where I really say you go into diabetic sugar shock because it's just so sweet. And then she can write the really good steamy, makes 50 Shades of Grey look like it's kindergartner type stuff. She's very, very talented in her genre and depth of writing romance. I love it when the brain just goes like on vacation on you. She's also an editor. She edits a lot, and she works with other authors on editing their books. So Mary Marvella is going to be with us next Thursday night here at Between the Pages Live at 7:30 p.m. And don't forget that if you want to get Christy's book, you can get When Lightning Strikes for $9.99. You just need to use the promo code Dixie Days, and then go ahead and take advantage of that and get When Bees Buzz, because I'm going to tell you, it'll be a great beach read if you're headed to the beach, or if you just need to sit down and decompress on a Saturday. You will devour both of these books very quickly and find yourself laughing. I'm blessed to have a lot of authors in the bookshop that have really, really great sense of humors about them, and bring our readers a lot of laughter. Don't forget that you can follow us here. You can catch the show on our YouTube channel. We upload it the next day. And you can always visit us here at southernpennbookshop.com to keep up with news and events. If you've missed any of the previous shows, let me mention right quick that the Writers' Conference for this year has been canceled. If you registered for the conference this year, you have one of 3 options. The first option is you can just roll your registration over to next year's conference. We're already beginning to plan next year's conference. We will be making formal announcements as far as venue, date, and time after November. The conference fee for next year is going to be at $175 because we are having to change venue. We don't have the Monroe Community Building anymore. So you can opt to just, roll your registration over to next year and we'll honor it, and you're going to be getting an awesome bargain because we're not going to ask you to pay the difference. The second option is you can request a refund, or the third option is we will give you an online store credit for what you paid for the conference. You do need to email us at the southernpennbookshop@gmail.com to let us know what you would like for us to do as far as your registration. We are going to do a giveaway, and we will announce the giveaway tomorrow morning on our Facebook page as to who won the giveaway. We'll select 2 winners, and we'll contact you to let you know that you've won, and also get your information as to how we can mail your prizes to you. I want to say thank you very much for giving us your time tonight. Again, Christy, thank you for being here. And
no kids, it's a vacation.
Yeah. And I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. And I'm not, so it looks like we're at the end of it. So thank you guys for being a part of it. And remember, let us introduce you to your favorite indie author at southernpennbookshop.com. And we look forward to seeing you guys next Thursday night with Mary Marvella. And hopefully the kids will be a little bit better behaved. So y'all have a good night and God bless. Ah, me and the mouse.